Hey guys, and well, I don't know why I said this so weird. Welcome to Behind the Curtain Week 9 for real this time. Last week I said it was Week 9, it wasn't, it was Week 8, I'm stupid. But we're here with Week 9 of Behind the Curtain, the series where every week I talk about my week and a theme that I've been thinking about or that's been running through that week. So how's it going, everybody? How's it been? This is, of course, I want to say second week of 2024, but I could be wrong. No, it's the 12th. Yeah, it's the second week. Yeah. I'm the goat. Yeah, today, funnily enough, I actually released a video earlier today on my main channel because it's a special day, and I said this in that video. It's a saying special feels weird, but yeah, it's a day that is, it's not just that's funny. It's not just your typical day. It is the 10-year anniversary of me creating content online. If you want to see my thoughts and all that sort of stuff on that topic, then go ahead and check out that video on my main channel. I'll try and link it if I remember. But yeah, I don't want to delve too much into that here because I have a 20-minute video talking about it over there. But yeah, so behind the curtain, we just talk about our week, So we go back to where did I get shot from? Just the typical week stuff. Not too much has happened, to be honest. So I'm trying to think. We start on Saturday. Didn't really do much. Just kind of went out with my family like I typically do. Nothing new there or anything. And then we went to where did we go? I'm just zoning out, man. I can't play PvP while doing this kind of content. I actually can't. Doing PvP while doing this kind of content does not go well at all. Anyway, reset. Yeah, so this week, not really done much at all. Not really had too much going on. Not had any real things going on the weekend. The only thing was, of course, I said that I had my what's it called? The Universal Credit meeting. I was saying I had the Universal Credit meeting on Friday, the thing for getting money off the government so that you can find jobs, whatever. It actually got delayed, so I've actually not had it, even though it was meant to be today. But, game is the game. But yeah, so we kind of just here. Not much has happened this week. I mean, I've been feeling better than I was last week. You guys probably could tell it was pretty down thing last week. But it's because I think last week I was just kind of like thinking and processing a lot of stuff, and finding some ways to kind of like look at things better. So yeah, and that leads us to today's theme. Like I say, there's not really much that's been happening this week, so there's not really much for me to comment on. The only thing I'll comment on is Sonic Prime had its final season release this week, yesterday, in fact. And because I'm the GOAT, I binge watched it all. And it was a massive disappointment. So, yeah, that's not great. But actual week stuff, not really too much going on. Just kind of vibed with people in calls. I've started helping out with the next show that we do. If you didn't know that my family does shows and whatever, so I used to be in them. I wasn't the last one actually, but I kind of took a very long break, and I usually just help out behind the scenes. So started to help out with that, which is it's an eventful thing. Now I'm actually doing something some nights. So yeah, but yeah, other than that, let's just move on to the theme, shall we? So last week I was thinking a lot about kind of inspirations. Like, I often think about why people do what they do, or what pushes me to do whatever. I was trying to think about inspirations, right? What inspires me? And I can't. It's the main thing. What people inspire. Like back in school or whatever. I remember getting asked this a couple of times, like school or college. They do like an enrichment activity where they'd be like, guys, write down on this shape who your inspiration is and why to celebrate some sort of special occasion, right? And I always used to sit there and be like, man, this is cringe. But not because, like, the activity itself is inherently cringe, I mean, it kind of is. But because my answer is, like, to put an answer like that when a bunch of kids in a school or college are going to see it, like, nobody's going to let you live that down. And I ain't going to be that personal with a bunch of people who are just going to constantly be irritating about it. But here we are. Yeah, so inspirations. I'm gonna say something this week that I have only ever told one person in my life. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Even though I'm pretty closed off nowadays, this is like the one area where I'm not. I kind of said this last week, so yeah, I was like, I'm just gonna keep speaking my mind. I want to talk about inspirations. So yeah, I'd say there's two main inspirations for me in my life and for me doing what I do. And one's fictional and one's non-fiction. And comparing the two, some people might think it's really distasteful, but then you don't understand how media impacts people. So we'll see how it goes. So yeah, the non-fictional. I'm getting that right now. Non-fictional means real, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it does. It always confuses me, non-fictional and fictional, right? Because like it always feels like non-fiction, like something being non should be like the real one, you know? But I digress. I digress. Um, do I digress? That jump is not possible. Huh? What? But yeah. So basically, the big inspiration, the big role model, I guess you could say, for me in my life is my granddad. Now, unfortunately, he passed away a few years back now, quite a few years back. But yeah, he is the main inspiration for my life and all the things I do. And there's a few reasons for that. But the main one is we used to see him. Unfortunately, a lot of like things, fine details you do forget over time because it has been a while. But we used to see him every 2 weeks. So me and my family would go over to their house and we'd stay over there. Like as like a, I guess, night out. I mean, I don't know exactly how to phrase it. But yeah, just stay over there. You know, we'd get some food from the chippy. You know, like like fish and chip place. Even though I only ever got chips. And yeah, we just spend time with them. But my granddad, he was the best, right? He was the main thing I always remember about him, even when things took a pretty bad turn or whatever. Which I won't get into that stuff because that is just nobody wants to talk about that. He was always smiling, right? No matter what, he was always smiling. The memory I have of his face, the memory I have of how he was as a person, anything like that. Even though obviously I was younger, he was absolutely always smiling. And not only that, but he cared so much, despite obviously his own life and his own stuff that he was going through. He cared so much about me and my family and, well, of course, because he's my family, but you get the point. Me and my parents, my sisters, and whatever. And the main thing I always remember about him is he was always smiling, no matter what. No matter what could be going on behind the scenes, behind the curtain, no matter what could be going on behind the curtain for him, he was always smiling. He was always upbeat. He was always doing stuff for other people. Now, of course, future me knows the reality of that is, like me, right? That won't have always been the case. He will have had times where he was struggling, though. He will have had times where, he wanted to talk about things that he couldn't. He will have had times where he was just not feeling great. But the crazy thing about him was that despite all that, he was always smiling. Always. And that is the memory that I'll always remember of him, and that's why he's the biggest inspiration. And you might think it's cliche, but that's what I strive to be. Inspirations. He is the person that I would want to be. The things he used to do, he used to like make little activities for me and my sisters and stuff when we were younger, little games, that sort of stuff. I'll cherish those memories, and when I grow up and have kids, I want to do those sort of things for my kids, because it's like a special. It's like at the end of the day, the important thing, kind of how it's kind of like about legacy, right? Like I often worry, like am I doing enough or anything with my life? And the reality is, I mean, I'm doing enough for myself. That's the main thing. But it's always, it's often about legacy. What is our legacy? And his legacy, and the way I deal with unfortunate grief and stuff like that is, I am his legacy, right? Any person who's ever passed away, in my life, as awful and terrible as it is, and as much as, none of us ever want to go through those things ever again, we're the ones who carry the torch, right? It's like a relay race, right? Life is essentially like a relay race, right? We are carrying the relay, the baton. Like, we're getting it passed on. And that baton holds all the things that the person before us like told us, all the actions they did, all the person they are or were, that baton holds it all. So legacy is like a really important thing to me, and I often think of the way that I deal with grief and the fact that, my granddad isn't around anymore, is by thinking, you know what? He taught me some of the most valuable things. Absolutely the most valuable things. And I will never forget those core values. And I hope that you guys can see those core values in the way I act normally, even when I phrase, I like to think, even when I phrase things that are a little more serious or whatever, I still tend to do it with a more kind of like upbeat, like mannerism, if you get what I mean. My tone is typically more upbeat because that's how I like to be. Like I've said in past videos, I like to be happy, and now you know the main reason why I like to be positive. Why I like to have a good energy, because that's what I grew up with, and I know how nice that is. How special it is. And for that, he's my main inspiration. The other thing I would say is he gave me this one line, and this is going to sound like I'm quoting a film or something like that, but I'm not. Basically, when stuff kind of got to its worst case, we weren't speaking to him too much, or more, he wasn't like speaking back too much. But it was around the time that I was doing my GCSEs. If you don't know, if you're not from the UK, GCSEs are like your big exams at the end of high school. They basically dictate, whether you'll get into whatever college you want to get to, etc. And it's what the whole of high school builds towards. It's incredibly scary. It's incredibly worrying. It's a lot of stress. A lot of people sit there and have to revise day in, day out, and all that sort of stuff. And I remember speaking to him, or speaking to my parents, and he was there, and saying, "I'm really worried. Like I hate everything right now. Like I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm scared. I'm gonna fail these exams. I'm gonna get a failure. I'm not gonna make it. I'm not gonna all this stuff." And even though he wasn't at his best, he suddenly spoke up, despite not speaking during kind of the whole situation, and said, "You'll be fine." That was it. That was flat out it. That was all he said, was "you'll be fine." And that is a message that lives on through me, like all of the other things he did. A lot. And as such, I mean, you could see this as a bad influence, sure. My exams, despite how stressed I was, I didn't revise, right? I didn't revise at all. And that is do not follow my advice. Do not follow my advice. It's a special case. I didn't revise. Not one bit. And wouldn't you know, I did fine. I passed every single exam I did. I had some really good grades on the ones I cared about. And I was fine. It worked out. And whenever I'm struggling, I also just think back to that. You'll be fine. And if you've ever been somebody who's been given personal advice from me, you can probably see how that translates into what I say. I often be like, if somebody's telling me like this or that about an exam, or this or that about anything in life, I always try and advice-wise try and be like, you'll be fine, because the thought that I can try and carry on that message, that I can try and carry on that kind of positivity is what matters to me. And that's one of the many reasons why he is my biggest inspiration. And he definitely, like I say, legacy-wise, I mean, everybody whose life has ever touched mine who passed away, their legacy lives on through me in some way, right? So it's my duty, it's my responsibility to keep that going, to keep the cogs turning. That's why it can sometimes be hard, right, when you are struggling. But like he said, like my granddad said, I'll be fine. And that's that's the important thing. The thing I was going to say, I'll speak on this for a little less, because I have spoken on this in the past, is the other inspiration, and it does have a link, and you're gonna hate me for this, but it is none other than Sonic the Hedgehog, right? And it's a little bit relevant to the week, because Sonic Prime I spoke about, and it was a disappointment. And you're probably like, why? How on earth is a blue hedgehog like one of your biggest inspirations next to somebody like that, right? Somebody with that caliber of impact on your life. And it's because a lot of growing up, Sonic as a character was the thing that was there for me, there was always a game. There was always he was an inspiration, and he was an inspiration in the way that he acts as a character, right? Or at least he did act. He gets a bit shaded, but he's always about friends. He's always about hating people being silenced. He's always about living life to the fullest. Living free, living happy, but always being there for people. And he reminds me elements of my granddad. He reminds me of somebody I feel safe with. And one of the biggest things I want to talk about is there's a lot of incredible Sonic quotes which are really good life lessons. And I know to a lot of people this will sound really cringe and make no sense, but it's the reality. And there's actually, in Sonic Unleashed, basically Sonic has like this little companion who's like a little flying little fairy kind of purple little guy called Chip. And, well, it's not his actual name, but I digress. And at one point in the game, there's an important conversation where basically this Chip character is like, Sonic, you've helped me as much as you can right now. So thank you, but this is something I have to do on my own. This is my responsibility. This is something I have to do on my own. And Sonic turns around and says, and stops him. He stops him from leaving and stops him from doing and going on this sort of like journey on his own. He says, and he gets asked why. He gets asked, why would you do that? And he gets told, do I need a reason? No, he says, sorry. Sonic says, do I need a reason to want to help out a friend? And that is such a good line that lives on through me as hard as I can. Sometimes it can be hard to, like any qualities, it can be hard to properly remember them and keep with them. But yeah, it is a pretty important message. Do I need a reason to want to help out a friend? And even more so, linking back to my granddad, at the end of Sonic Unleashed, there's a really sad song that plays called Dear My Friend. And it's all about a friend who isn't there anymore, who lives on through your heart and will always, you'll always remember them, and the things they did you'll always remember, and that they will always live in through you. And you can probably tell what I described is exactly the kind of mentality and thoughts and stuff I was saying about my granddad. That is exactly it. And that song is so special. I love it. I can play it on the keyboard a little bit. Dear My Friend is a fantastic song. And yeah, that's kind of my thoughts this week. Inspirations, the people that beyond all else push us to keep going. Everybody has them, whether you've been able to like find out and work out exactly who it is or whatever. We all have them, and we all have people who are special, and that we will always continue trying to live on for them. Even at my lowest, I will always keep on going for my granddad. I'll always keep on going for the people who can't go anymore. That's the way I look at it. Like I say, with grief, it's terrible that we have to go through those things, but we can either let it consume us, or we can keep going for those people because they can't anymore. That's why I'm here right now, right? I'm going because of the people who can't go, because they live through me. It's like another example of that is a year and a half ago. The person who played the keyboard at the show place passed away, and I regretted not saying thank you to him for always seeing good things in me and all that. But at the end of the day, he lives on through me now in keyboard. I've started playing the keyboard, and I don't know. I suddenly did it, and I sit there and question: do I do it because of him? Is that why? I'll never know. I'll never know the exact reason, but that part of lives on through me, and the fact that he always saw the best in me, saw me as a good person, that lives on. Now I always think that I have to keep I keep that up because that's what he said. That's what he thought. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at this week, and I'm really intrigued. Obviously, this is kind of the most personal I've ever been on here, and like I say, this is stuff I've literally only ever told one person in my life. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully it doesn't go against me. I'm sure it won't. But yeah, who are your biggest inspirations in life? I'm really curious. Who are the people that inspire you the most to keep going and all that good old stuff? And how's your week been? How have you been doing? How's it been? And I'm curious on your thoughts on inspiration and all that good old stuff as well. But anyway, thank you guys so much for coming out, guys. I really appreciate it. If you haven't checked out my 10-year anniversary video on YouTube, it's similar to this kind of one where I just talk about content instead. I'd recommend checking it out. I'd appreciate it. But thank you guys for all the support, especially on a day like today where it's been 10 years of YouTube. well, 10 years of content creation in general. It means a lot to have people who do watch these things, even though the amounts of people who do watch these videos specifically is low. The fact that I can have a place where hopefully I can give you some help with discovering yourself or discovering your thoughts on something or working ways out to move past things or life lessons or whatever. Even if it impacts just a small amount of people, it does mean a lot. So thank you guys so much for coming out, and I will see you guys next week hopefully, and I'll have more updates on the job front and all that sort of stuff then. So see you guys next time. Goodbye.